You know what games are amazing? Super Mario 64, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Majora's Mask, heck, even Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. All these games are considered must-plays, and they're considered some of the greatest games of all time. And for a good reason. People still go out to play these games and they're still relevant today. Be it in the speedrun community, be it on re-releases, be it that just people want remakes of these great games because they hold up 20, 30 years later. But at the same time, they are retro games. You have played them before, as well as I. And really, after putting so many hours in them and really going through the games 100%, you don't get the same feelings as you did when you first completed the game, be it just beating it regular or getting every single item. These games, they have a limited shelf life, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some of the greatest games can have this profound effect after your first playthrough, and you can always revisit them, nostalgia notwithstanding, once a year and see how well they hold up. However, that doesn't mean they're always going to be fresh. They're never going to reach the heights of that first playthrough. Now, something has been out there revitalizing retro game playing, and not just revitalizing it, bringing it in a whole new life that it feels like a brand new experience. It doesn't reach the heights of your very first playthrough, but it's getting close to bringing back that feeling of that sense of adventure, that sense of wonderment of when you first play through these games. And that something is called a randomizer. Now, randomizers aren't exactly new, but they're not really that mainstream either because they're not available on regular consoles. They're available online, and randomizers have been seen throughout things like SGDQ, speedruns, and obviously a lot of other YouTube channels. But not everybody knows where or even what they are. Well, a randomizer is exactly what you were thinking it was. Randomizing parts of a game. Now, it could be randomized of anything. It could be items, bosses, music. It could be any possible thing. But let's simply put it like this. In The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, normally your first large chest in the game is the Kokiri sword after you crawl through the tunnel. With there, you grab the sword, your adventure begins because you need a way to attack. It's just what it is. But in a randomizer, any item can be received in that large chest. It could be detrimental to your journey, it could be an endgame item, it could be helpful to you right then and there, but this is what makes randomizers so popular. Now, I know it sounds like only masters can play randomizers of a game because you need to know advanced tech or you need to know speedrun glitches, but that's not what I really mean, and that's not the way it's meant to come out. Randomizers, I feel, have just revitalized these retro games for those who have thoroughly enjoyed and loved the game, but they just couldn't reach those feelings after replaying them again. Everyone and anyone should try and enjoy randomizers. I'm just saying this is like an added benefit to these games. You can look at randomizers also as a type of difficulty add-on because with the game now being sequence broke, or items being hidden / out of order, you're going to have to know how to navigate in these games without the recommended or required items in certain areas. This is another reason why a lot of randomizer players are speedrunners, because without knowing how to do advanced tech or even glitches, you might find yourself in an impossible to pass place, or it'll just take a little longer to get past these areas. However, the developers of randomizers have your back. This is why they're so amazing. Randomizers have something called logic in them. Now, every randomizer is not the same. Well, duh, because it's random and that's the point of it. But what I mean is, not every kind of randomizer is the same. The seed generation technology, which, again, is how you create a randomizer. A randomizer is made with rules from a seed to create logic. And this logic prevents you from being soft-locked or it being too difficult. So you don't necessarily have to be this top-level speedrunner, hacker, cheater to get past any of these randomized seeds. It just goes to show you how much love and effort is put into each game's community. Let's take, for example, Paper Mario 64. In the Paper Mario 64 randomizer, you start in Toad Town with all of your partners. Now, you don't have all your partners' battle access, but you have access to them in the overworld because that's how you navigate to each chapter or area in the game. You can't get to Yoshi Island without Sushi. You can't get to the Toy Box without Boette. And the game knows this. By having logic in it, it allows you to have your partners in order to access these areas to unlock, obviously, randomized items for later on in the game. It's these small, clever details that make randomizers so much fun to play, and that's why I'm super addicted to them. It's really just amazing to see how it's done, because I've watched no logic runs, and those kind of things with no logic means the key door to the locked door in front of you could be behind that locked door, making it impossible to go through unless you know how to glitch or hack through it. But everyone should be able to play a randomizer. You don't need to know all these skills. I played recently the Super Metroid Link to the Past randomizer, and I honestly have never played Super Metroid more than 2 times. But I was able to get through both games because I didn't have to worry about the logic blocking me from beyond. Every area can be solved. It could take a little longer, it could take a lot of backtracking, but the logic helps it that you don't have to be this glitch master, and that's the point I'm really trying to get across. If you guys don't really understand, you guys should watch a randomizer. I really recommend just taking your time, maybe watching a Ocarina of Time or Super Mario 64 randomizer to really understand how it works. Now, personally for me and my story of randomizers is that I absolutely love them. And honestly, I'm really addicted to watching them as well. The very first randomizer I ever watched was the Ocarina of Time randomizer. And forgive me if I'm going to fanboy over it the whole time, but it's really the most optimized and well-made one. But the very first one I ever played was the Super Mario 64 randomizer because that was the game I was most comfortable playing. I remember telling myself I wanted to do a Pokemon randomizer, which is very common with Nuzlocke challenges, but all these things, there are so many randomizers, there's so many games out there that honestly, it's like playing a whole new series in of itself. So when I first watched Spike Vegeta do an Ocarina of Time randomizer, I was in awe because, well, a year ago, he was just kind of going through the progressions of an early build of a randomizer and just watching how he had to go through these different dungeons to find small chests in order to advance another dungeon, even if it's just a little bit, so he could go collect other small treasures to see if he had key items or checks in there, really baffled me. It blew my mind. Everything is important. All the knowledge you ever accumulated playing the game, well, it's just as important because it tests your might to the max. And that's what got me going down this deep rabbit hole. Now, I just finished the Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix randomizer, and I've been looking at a lot of other ones, Final Fantasy IX, Donkey Kong Country 2, but there are so many games out there that have this feature, and really, it's probably the best way to revisit the classics. I mean, I could play these games every day because like I said, they are some of the greatest games ever made, and they're some of my favorite games. But to experience it in a whole new light, well, these classics I absolutely adore, and it's so fun. It's really hard to explain that you guys should probably play one, and if you're not convinced, you're not sold on it, you should watch it, because randomizers are so advanced in this day that the Ocarina of Time randomizer, it has online multiplayer. You can play online co-op connectivity with a seed where you guys are sharing items between and checking other chests, which is something that Halo Infinite single player still hasn't been able to figure out yet. They're still waiting to figure out this technology, and yet they've done it with an Ocarina of Time randomizer. I recently found a website that lists every randomizer currently in existence and kindly leads to each of their GitHub or website leading how to create your own seeds. I highly recommend checking it out. It's going to be down in the comments below. It's called debigare.com/randomizers. DEBIGARE.com. So, while I highly recommend checking it out, here are a list of my favorite randomizers to watch or play. Super Mario 64, Majora's Mask, any Pokemon game, just choose your favorite of the series. Ocarina of Time, of course, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, the Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3 combination game, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, and of course the Super Metroid Link to the Past co-joined one. Now that's something I didn't talk about, and I'm going to go on a little tangent. Some of these randomizers are actually co-joined of 2 games. So the most popular is the SMZ3, aka Super Metroid Link to the Past one. In that game, well, you're going through Link to the Past while collecting items for Super Metroid and vice versa. In Super Metroid, there could be items that are hidden for Link to the Past. And it's really cool because you have to constantly have to go between both games. You get knowledge of each game. I have never really been too big into Super Metroid, but playing this co-joined randomizer was one of the better experiences I had with it. Now, the Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3 one is really cool because after you finish a level, you can get thrown into any of the 3 Donkey Kong countries of any level at any time, and it really keeps you on your toes. It's just a lot of skill involved, and it's very hectic, and it's cool to watch, and it's cool to play. But again, these are some of the best and most optimized randomizers out there. There could be a few that you want to play, Castlevania, Banjo-Kazooie, etc. And if it's on the list, like the 2 I just mentioned, then definitely go play them. Go find your favorite game. Go see if there's a randomizers. There's probably speedrunning communities and randomizing communities that you could join in, ask people, and really just have a great time with it. These are some of the best games ever made, and it's probably, you're going to enjoy it because it's one of your favorite games to play. So if you're skeptical, go watch one. See how crazy and zany they can be. But randomizers are definitely the future of retro game playing, and I can't wait to see more. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. In this video, I wanted to try something a little different, so I'm using the icon to talk here. Let me know if you guys like it more than seeing my ugly mug. I appreciate that. And don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. I hope everyone has an amazing day, and I hope to see you guys on that randomizer grind. Thank you.